You are reminding me of President Gaingop. He once joked, remember there is an effort for Africa as a continent to have a seat on the Security Council. And he said, look, since there is no agreement which country, Namibia should volunteer to be a candidate. So our aim is not necessarily immediately to join BRICS. Our aim is to be in proper contact with all BRIC members, Russian included, and maybe led by Russia, so that we understand their effort, we understand their program, we understand where Namibia can benefit in terms of financial development, in terms of energy sector. Namibia is endowed with natural resources, including uranium. The Russians have learned a long time ago how to use uranium for all kinds of purposes. Okay? So those are the things we really want. But as I said already, we are close to Nigeria. Nigeria has always been a good brother, a big brother on African continent. If they become a member, we can be close to them. South Africa is a neighbor, and we have a common history under colonial rule of the British and the Afrikaners. So we will be able to cooperate. But our wish is that the BRICS as a project and as a program continue to expand and continue to improve and continue to succeed.
We can no longer accept that a large portion of the world's population is not represented in the United Nations Security Council. My own continent, Africa, home to 1.4 billion people, as well as South America, are not represented in the United Nations Security Council. This is unjust, this is unacceptable, and it must end.
Africa's voice is not heard. This United Nations cannot be truly international. It cannot be truly together and will not be better until our continent, home to 1/5 of the population of the world, is afforded an equal voice at the highest body of this organization. Friends and partners in the Permanent Five, it is time to make good on your promise to a continent. Agree a permanent seat on the UN Security Council for Africa, for 80 years the only continent without one.
While Africa continues to fight for just one permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council, the rest of the world is already moving on. In January 2026, US President Donald Trump made two stunning moves that could change the world order: the official withdrawal of the United States from the World Health Organization and the launch of a brand new institution called the Global Board of Peace, a US-led body that some believe is designed to replace the UN itself. And here's the kicker. To join, a country must pay $1 billion. This isn't just about diplomacy. This is a direct challenge to the current global system. And once again, Africa is being left behind. Africa is home to over 1.4 billion people, making up almost 18% of the global population. Yet in the most powerful body of the UN, the Security Council, Africa has zero permanent representation. No veto power, no permanent voice, nothing. African leaders have lobbied for decades to change this. They've argued that a Security Council without African representation is outdated, unfair, and undemocratic. But every year the doors remain closed. And while we're still knocking, the global elite are quietly building new doors without us. On January 5th, 2026, President Donald Trump officially pulled the United States out of the World Health Organization, a move that stunned the international community. The US had already threatened withdrawal during Trump's previous term, but now it's real. For African countries, the consequences are serious. WHO plays a massive role on the continent, coordinating efforts against malaria, HIV, Ebola, and other deadly diseases. It supports local health infrastructure, provides vaccines, and delivers emergency response during outbreaks. With US funding gone, many African countries are now facing a looming health crisis, unable to fill the gap left behind. Just days after quitting WHO, Trump unveiled his latest move, the Global Board of Peace, an organization reportedly created to ensure global peace and cooperation. In a flashy inauguration in Washington, Trump stood before a group of unnamed founding members, offering no clear mandate, no transparent structure, and no international consensus. But what he did reveal was this: membership costs $1 billion. Let that sink in. This so-called peace board isn't about unity, it's about power and exclusion. It puts rich nations in control while making it impossible for poorer countries, especially in Africa, to even participate. This is pay-to-play geopolitics, and it reeks of neo-colonialism wrapped in diplomacy. Many analysts believe Trump's real goal is to undermine and ultimately replace the UN Security Council. His past criticisms of the UN are well documented, calling it weak, ineffective, and biased. Now with the US pulling out of global health and launching its own international body, the writing is on the wall. But if the UN crumbles, what happens to Africa? A continent already underrepresented in global institutions will have even less influence, even fewer resources, and even more dependency on superpowers that don't prioritize African interests. And if Trump's New World Order becomes reality, Africa may not have a seat at the table again. In response to this geopolitical shakeup, African countries are looking for alternatives, and one name keeps coming up: BRICS. Once seen as a loose economic alliance, BRICS, made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is now expanding. In 2025, it welcomed new members and began forming its own institutions, including a BRICS Development Bank and a proposed BRICS Security Forum. Namibian Nangolo Mbumba recently made headlines by openly calling for BRICS to become a global counterforce to Western dominance. Other African leaders are following suit, pushing for greater African inclusion in BRICS decision-making. This could mark a turning point, but only if Africa unites around a clear, shared strategy. Make no mistake, Africa stands at a critical crossroads. If we continue relying on systems built to exclude us, we will always be fighting for scraps. The UN has ignored our calls for justice. The Global Board of Peace is too expensive to access. And the world's most powerful nations are redrawing the map of influence without African input. Our sovereignty, our health systems, our security, and our future are on the line. The decisions made today will define Africa's role in the world for generations. Will we stay silent, or will we push back? The era of begging for inclusion must end. Africa must stop asking for permission and start building its own global influence through BRICS, through regional unity, and through fearless leadership. We don't need to be included in their systems. We can build our own, because if we don't fight for our place in the New World Order, we'll be erased from it.
Excellency Nangolo Mbumba, former president of Namibia, thank you for being with us.
It is my pleasure to be here.
Great. Now, let me start it this way. How do you envision the sovereignty of information and media on the African continent?
You have used a very strong word, sovereignty. We in politics consider that word very seriously because it's stronger than independence. But nevertheless, each line of business, each line of activities must enjoy its own sovereignty so that they are independent to think, independent to write, and independent to speak their mind. But their mind must also be honest expression of what they truly believe and what they truly think. We are thinking that at least now, in this age, we have the necessary equipment to learn, to train our people, so that they are able to get information from all sources that are available, not from one, not from the other side, but truly universally gaining information and presenting those information to our citizens in a fair, concrete, and positive way to avoid the sensationalization, to sensationalize to things. They must say the truth and also be the contributor to Africa's development and Africa's future.
What potentials do you see in cooperation between your country and Russia when it comes to media and cultural exchange?
I'm happy to say that I gained my contact to the then Soviet Union way back in 1982. So the cooperation has been there at the political level, diplomatic level, security sector level, when we are fighting for our own independence, and now economic level. So Russia is a major country in this world. It's a major power. They are technologically advanced. They have a history of dealing with scientific matters. And therefore, if we learn something from them, if we can cooperate in terms of equipment, in terms of training, we are definitely going to benefit. And our community and societies are going to be the major beneficiaries.
How can African nations strengthen their media institutions to combat what a lot of people see as new colonial narratives, especially seeing it from the window of Namibia and your experience?
Yeah, Namibia and Russia have signed, as other African countries have done, an agreement with there is a group that work together to make sure that we exchange information, we exchange in terms of training, and therefore we will follow that so that it's a partnership with Africa, Russia partnership in terms of media. And if we do that, we are going to benefit. And also on the Russian side, they are going to be able to gain basic information about our own societies, about our own culture, about our own languages, and our own practice in terms of politics and economic development, so that we benefit, they also gain the experience to understand each and every country's unique nature and unique geography and politics.
All right, we see digital platforms reshaping the information flow around the world these days. And now, if I have to ask this question, do you see BRICS-aligned countries providing an alternative when it comes to creating narratives that are suitable for African audience?
In the first place, I'm happy. It's not only South Africa, which is a BRIC country now. Nigeria has signed up. And also...
We even have Ethiopia and yes, Egypt, who are members now.
Members. I'm talking now as a Southern African.
Okay.
Okay. We will definitely gain. BRICS stood as a signal that there could not be possibly just a unipolar world, that everybody go to London or to Washington or to Paris. They must also be able to go to New Delhi, Johannesburg, Abuja, Brasilia. So we must have a world that recognizes each one of us as individuals and as countries. And therefore, BRICS come at the correct time. They have the muscle in terms of putting their financial resources together and forming the new bank. Okay? Those are things that will benefit from each one of us. And therefore, we should celebrate that. We should endorse that. We should be able to cooperate with all BRIC country members.
Can me ask this question that a lot of people have been very concerned about. Germany has recognized the massacre of the Herero and the Nama tribes in Namibia and has even apologized. But let me ask, is that enough?
The question is not enough. First, It is not only the communities that were heavily touched by the genocide that were done by the German forces, 1904, 1908. The effect of that genocide still remain up to now. Namibia's population is small. It's that part of that. And therefore, this effort for Germany to compensate for what they have done, for proper reparation to take place, is not a question of one community. It's a question of the whole population of Namibia, because the motion that started this process was presented in Parliament, the Namibian Parliament, and unanimously approved. Our President, Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, has expressed herself in the statement when we, for the first time, we adopted a date to annually commemorate that events in terms of the history of our country. And she said specifically, and I'm paraphrasing here, we remain together. We remain steadfast as a country and as a nation until we reach the final agreement. But right now, there is no agreement. There is no yet agreement. It's still a process. But a lot of work has been done, and hopefully one day we will reach that. We as a country and we as a nation stand on her words, what she has said, and what she stands for, because she represents us, all of us now.
The whole of Africa tend to have the same feeling, because every country that is colonized one way or the other has one experience, but Namibia has a special situation. Now, if you have to share with us, what dimension should this reparation take, if you have to share that with us?
Namibia has a special dimension, as you have said it, because there was an order, extermination order on behalf of the then Imperial German government, that a certain population, the Hereros, must not be seen in Namibia, and they must be eliminated, and they must either leave or they will be killed. And it does not matter whether you are a woman or a child, not to talk even about men or soldiers for that matter. It was the same order was later given to our population of the Namas in the southern part. And on the basis that these orders were given by a particular government, it was not accidental, it was not justified. It was an order to eliminate the population. And thus, by any classification, is genocide. Elimination of a particular community, never to exist, and to remove them from their natural habitat. Whether now the other countries will learn from us, we also have tried to copy from all kinds of situations in terms of history. Of course, they can share we can share with them what we have done, what we have written, and how we intend to proceed, hopefully up to the final solution. Or final agreement. Maybe that is not real final solution, but there will be final agreement to say, up to here, we have now agreed that this must be done, apology must be given. The president of Germany or whoever is the leader they choose should come and apologize to those communities and to the Namibian nation as a whole.
Yes, here we are, greeting to you all, my dear lovely family, brothers, sisters, hopefully you're okay and doing well. I have a question to you. Do you think Africa will be respected by joining BRICS? Do you think BRICS will restore the dignity and respect of Black people? For me, I think no. The only solution for Africa is to unite and come together. Yes, we need BRICS members, we need Russia, we need China, we need India, Brazil for business and other stuffs for technology sharing. But the only salvation, the only solution for Africa to be respected is to unite. Currently, you heard the story of a global body of peace that was initiated by Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, that will deal with peace globally. Yes, we know we have UN Security Council, but it looks like Trump wants to replace UN Security Council with this body, global body of peace. And what if it will be true? Right now, you have seen our leaders pushing for permanent seats with veto power at the UN Security Council. What if Trump will succeed to replace UN Security Council with a global body of peace? Where do you see Africa? Where is the position of Africa? Because to join this body, you need to pay $1 billion as a fee to enter into this body. Do you see we have that amount of money? We Africans in the global south, do we have such kind of, of course I know some countries such as Morocco has declared to join, but look at about other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Look at countries such as Djibouti, Lesotho, Botswana, Burundi. Can we pay such amount of money? Or will we go and sign the deal with US that we want to join to your board? Please take these minerals and allow us to be members. Oh, that's what will happen. But in case we don't have such amount of money, and already the US has withdrawn from what we call World Health Organization. That was, of course, US was contributing much and funding these health NGOs, PEPFAR, and other things like that. US was funding. So Trump has withdrawn US from contributing to the World Health Organization. It means Africans, we have to pay much and to contribute to our own health. Before, maybe we have been delaying to pay for something. So right now you see Trump has said, you have to pay for your own health. I cannot care your people. What will Africa do? Now we have to fight to find money to pay for, to finance our own health sectors. And yet we need to pay $1 billion to join this body of peace. Do you see we have those amount of money? So for me, I think, brothers and sisters, Africa, we lack nothing. We lack visionary leaders. If we have visionary leaders, we can overcome this challenge. We can come together, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Burkina Faso, we can come together and unite. And I don't know why right now we have leaders who are not ready to come together and speak with one voice. You know, if you heard the speeches of our founding fathers, you can understand how they are so visionary. Right now, we don't have leaders, of course. I think we have what we call politicians. We have politicians who are not leaders. Because if we have leaders, and I hope the issue of coming together to be simple. For instance, you see what happened in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Those countries led by leaders, Assimi Goïta, Abdulrahman Chan, and Captain Ibrahim Traoré. You saw what happened. Within 1 year, they have formed their own television. So narratives and stories of Sahel will be told by their own television. They came with their own band. They inaugurated their own band. They want to have their own currency. Look, African Union, more than 60 years, we have done nothing. We can't finance our health. We can't bring peace in the continent of Africa. It's because of kind of leaders that we have. We have leaders who are selfish, who don't want, and who are not loving this continent. They pretend to love this continent, but in truth, they are not in love with this continent. They have different homes in Paris, in Washington, in London, in Brussels, yet they are leading Africa. So those leaders, those politicians, not leaders, of course, I'm sorry for that. Those politicians, they're so greedy, and they don't want to see strong Africa. Because if they wish to have a strong Africa, they have to unite. So they think they will stay here for maybe 1,000 years. They will be here, they will move out, other generation will come. So what are you doing for the coming generation? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Look, Trump, what he's doing, he's not doing for himself or his family. Trump is doing for the coming generation. He has signed deals with Rwanda, Congo, not because of himself. He has already rich. Trump is rich, don't need resources of Congo, but he's preparing that the coming generation of US will benefit from Congolese minerals. Look what happened to Venezuela. It is to take control of oil, that in the near future, America will control the market of the oil. That's what Trump is doing. He's preparing good environment for the coming generation. What our leaders are doing, just selling us. They'll sell out. These politicians, they'll sell out. They're thinking about elections. They're thinking about the votes. They don't think about the future of this continent. That's why they are not ready to come together. When they start in Addis, they say nothing. They spend a lot of time talking about election, something like that. So we need leaders who will talk about unity. Have you heard one day leaders talking about unity? Convening a meeting of unity, of peace, one government, one army? Have you heard? No. They're talking about, something cool. What does cool mean? We want you. If we are united, that's not cool. The only way to avoid coup and overthrow of leaders is to come together. If we unite, there will be no Burkina Faso, there will be no Mali, there will be no Nigeria. Yes, some are refusing to unite. Let us start with a few. Those who are led, but no one is led. Why? Because they are being influenced by the external powers. So, family, brothers and sisters, it's paining, but we are at a crossroad. I don't think you can pay to join the body of Trump because we don't have money. And even if we join, I think we'll do nothing. And of course, we are still begging for permanent seats at the UN Security Council, and Africa will not get a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Take this from me. Africa will not attain a permanent seat at the UN Security Council with the veto power until Africa will unite. Without unity, Africa will not have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council with the veto power. And America will not allow divided Africa that will be controlled by external power to have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. No powerful country will allow Africa to have a permanent, because Africa is not speaking with one voice. How can you give people who are divided? How can give a continent a permanent seat that they will prefer to give India? India will get a permanent seat before Africa. I'm saying this because I see we continue to be divided. Look what happened in Somalia, Somaliland, gone. Look what happened in Sudan, South Sudan, gone. Look what happened right now in South Africa, white, they want their own country. In Kyiv, Democratic Republic of Congo, M23, when this is speaking, they want their own country. What will happen? Libya, no leader. Sudan has fallen. So how can you give such kind of continent a permanent seat if themselves they have failed to bring peace? We are at a crossroad. So family, let me end here. If you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section, and you may share this video to other Africans who are here in the continent and to those who are in the diaspora. Let me say, have a nice time. See you in other video. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and also share this message to our fellow brothers and sisters who are here in Africa, and also to those who are in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa. Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, freedom. Thank you, Africa.